Hey, what's up, Street Talks? It's Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. So a random idea I want to share with you is this notion of would you rather be ignored or would you rather be hated on? So I think this is an interesting idea because I think too often in life, a lot of us end up becoming a lot more risk averse because we don't want other people to hate on us. Now, I think this is a natural tendency because perhaps in the past, if in fact you were hated on by other people in the collective or the tribe, you literally might have gone killed, or you might have not been able to have access to food, shelter, and so forth. Now, the problem is these feelings of hate aversion are still biologically within us. And what does that prevent us from doing? It prevents us from taking risks, it prevents us from taking social risks, and it prevents us from doing epic shit that might evoke the ire or the hate of other people. Now, we're fortunate enough that living in modern society, even though you're socially ostracized by others, you're not gonna die or get killed or whatever. And actually, I think this is one of the biggest benefits of modern society is that you could actually live a life that is actually more unusual and risky and actually end up thriving in modern society. So this is actually interesting is that, I don't know if this is true, but apparently a lot of successful CEOs or business people have quote mild Asperger's, which means, I really hate that notion of Asperger's, but essentially the idea is that there are certain people who just don't really care as much for social approval. And so if you don't really care so much about social approval, my thought is you're more likely to take social risks of saying things which are a little bit controversial, and you don't really worry too much about social stigma because you don't really care whether other people think you're right, wrong, stupid, smart, successful, unsuccessful, and you just end up taking more risks and you share more ideas and thoughts that are actually more personal and actually more authentic to you. And I think ultimately all of us as photographers, artists, philosophers, whatever, it doesn't really matter what we think in the ultimate scheme of things. The only thing that I think is important is whether what you believe in is authentic to you or inauthentic, because there's going to be a trillion reasons why people figure that you're right or wrong, and it's not your ultimate goal to be right all the time. It's rather your goal to be right in having the conviction to be stubborn, to stand up for what you believe in, and to not compromise your artistic visions. And whenever I think of all the great individuals in history, it seems that the characteristic that they share the most was the fact that they didn't budge, and that they're even willing to risk their lives to stand up for what they believe in. So whatever you believe in life, whatever epic goals you have in life, know that this life, you only live once, this life is uncertain, and you're not gonna die. If you adopt a more ascetic lifestyle, you could be more risk-loving, you're less afraid of falling victim to social ruin. And so I recommend you to think bigger, think more epically, to put yourself out there. And when in doubt, it's better to be hated on than to be ignored. If you're being hated on, consider it a pleasure, because most people don't even have the opportunity to be hated on. And generally speaking, the more you're hated on, the more influential you are, the more hated you on. It means that people actually know who you are. If you're somebody who has never been hated on by anybody, it means that you've never evoked the jealousy or the envy of others. So treat it as like a badge of honor, and just ask yourself at the end of the day, would you rather be ignored or hated on? Peace out.